Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Jedis and Wookiees coming your way. That's what that movie was missing, was Bill Murray.
Okay. I didn't know there was more to that than Star Wars.
I'm pretty sure I did not do the words that he sang, but hey, it works.
Yep.
I didn't want to get sued by Bill Murray.
Oh, yes. Because that's who would come after you, not Disney.
Yeah, he's local. He could show up at my front door in like 20 minutes and kick the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But, hey, hi,
Hello.
and welcome to a holiday special.
Yes.
May the 4th, baby.
May the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Oh,
Is that the right response?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Probably.
All right, let's go with it.
And there'll be no Revenge of the 5th. Or Revenge of the 6th. I've heard both.
No, well, I mean...
We'll save episode 6 for next May the 4th.
Yeah.
Something for you to look forward to.
Yeah, a little something.
That's a little,
Tickle balls. Let them know it's coming. But yeah, we like doing the May the 4th episodes, and we figured, hey, what's next on the roll? Empire Strikes Back.
Yep. So, I mean, spoilers ahead of time. I mean, once we give the scores, we're going to talk about these movies, but they've been out since, this one, 81?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait,
Or is it 79?
I think this might be 78.
Okay. I thought that was took all
Because
of that.
I was a wee lad.
A wee lad.
Yes.
No, I think I've got to pull it up. I'm asking you when I can pull it up myself. 80.
Okay.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah. So 1980. Yeah, I was a little when my dad went to take me to this, and I still remember watching this movie in the theater because I fell in love with AT-ATs.
Okay.
Thought they were the best thing in the world, and I never got the toy. I got the Wampa Frozen Castle set. I am not ungrateful.
Yeah.
My dad, for like one of my birthdays, I can't remember which one, he bought me a giant box just full of Star Wars shit, and it was awesome. But I've always been in love with the AT-AT. So if you want to send me an AT-AT, the P.O. box is at the bottom here. It's not.
It's going to be static.
It's not. But yeah, we wanted to get together, do a Star Wars special, and here it is. And if you haven't seen it, spoilers, of course, at this point.
It will be a Star Wars holiday special, but not the one you're thinking of.
Yeah. What?
Star Wars holiday special?
Oh, yeah, no, we're never doing that piece of shit here.
Yeah, we will.
Really?
Eventually.
Oh, God.
We're going to be ringing that little towel, being like, man, we can't get any more blood out of this turnip.
Oh, God. All right, well, I guess it's just
the holiday special.
This is just the torture. Oh, yeah, but I mean, Amber's already said, like, flat out, she will not watch it. So,
It'll be you and me then.
Yep, gluttons for punishment. But yeah, if you haven't seen Star Wars, first thing I need you to do is question your geek cred.
Or don't. Who cares?
No, do it.
It took me a long time to watch Star Trek. And people who were like, oh my God, Star Trek is perfect science fiction. And then I watched it, and it had a magic Q-man that was zipping people through the stars. And I'm like, this is just as fantasy as Star Trek or Star Wars.
Yep.
They're just more upfront about it.
Yeah. Space wizards against omnipotent super space wizards. So
They're like, oh, see it, but it's technology. He's a magic spaceman.
There's a lot of people who don't feel like the next generation is real Star Trek. Like, even though it's like the best Trek in my opinion. But I mean, so you have people who are Star Trek people, you have people who are Star Wars people. I am both. I like them both. They're both great. And there's room in your heart for both. Don't hate, participate, or something. I don't know. I heard someone say that once, and I thought it sounded good. All right, so yeah, turn it off. Come back when you've seen the movie.
Yeah.
And now we're going to give our numbers.
Yes.
So, Nick.
Yes.
On a scale from 0 to 10, Empire Strikes Back, baby. What'd you give it?
I think I'm going to give this one a 9.
Fuck me.
You went for the mayor score, didn't you?
Yeah, I did go for the mass score.
Yeah.
So I had it at 8,
Okay.
and then I was like,
This is the best Star Wars movie.
God damn it.
Which is, so keep that in mind. 9 is the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, there's always room. Fuck. I should have just stayed with what I had. God damn it. All right.
All right. Lance, what about you?
I give this movie an easy 10.
Like that.
Yep. It is my favorite of all of them. It's probably has something to do. Can't do that one anymore
No.
until next April Fool's Day.
Yep.
No, I remember oh so vaguely this being one of the things. I remember my dad taking me to the Aviation Avenue Theater when I was little to see this movie, and I remember walking out being like, "Oh my god, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life." He even took me to go see Star Wars at the theater, but I was like, I was 3 or something. It was ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, but he told me he took me to see Star Wars on the theater. My mom backed him on that one, so. But I couldn't remember anything on that. But yeah, easily the best in my opinion, just my opinion. And I know this is one that gets touted as the best of the series, but I mean, it's got a lot to love, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes. I was thinking of how much we talked about Star Wars already.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that kind of overtakes all fandoms. You know, like it's the thing in the forefront. And now that Disney has it, I was really worried for a while there.
Yeah.
And I'm still a little nervous.
Yep, still pretty worried.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when they first took it over, like the first thing they did was throw out like all the book series, all the extended universe stuff. And there's like not a lot that I've read in the extended universe. I've read Heir to the Empire. I've read like Tales of the Bounty Hunter, stuff like that. But I thought it was a little weird that they never introduced Mara Jade or any of those characters.
Yeah, that's such a shame.
Yeah, and then like they just took all that and threw it away, and I was like, whoa, that is a lot of history.
And took it all, replaced it because they wanted to do their own spin on it. Which, sure, like when Disney took it over, I was kind of like, but I guess they've done Marvel okay, so maybe they'll do Disney okay. This is not bad news. And they put out episode 7, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. Then they put out episode 8, and I'm like, oh no,
shit,
oh shit.
And then they put out episode 9, and Nick was like,
oh, it's too late. Stop beating that poor horse.
Well,
he's already dead.
I thought episode 9 of 7, 8, and 9 was the best of them. Only for the fact that it was, oh my god, it had some juggling to do.
I disagree. I think 9 is the worst of all of them.
I mean, you know, potato.
Yeah.
But
I actually like The Last Jedi more than the other two.
Really?
Because I hated Force Awakens so much that when the last Jedi came around and just shat on all of it, I'm like, yeah, shit on that stupid movie. And I was mostly enjoying like the, oh, you think she's somebody? Nobody. It's like, oh, you think this lightsaber means something? It means nothing. I'm like, yeah, fuck all that shit.
Well, I mean, I really... So one thing I remember asking Amber is we don't like being spoiled on stuff. Like, I've gotten to the point where if a trailer comes out, I'll watch the first trailer. And then they, for some reason these days, they do trailer 2, and then they do trailer 3.
Yeah.
And I don't like that shit because it gives you too much of the storyline. You've already got me. You don't need to get me more.
Yeah, they don't. For nowadays, Marvel doesn't really need to show me trailers per se. I'm probably going to see it. At this point in time, I might not see it in the theater, so I tend to skip those trailers, and then I'll just watch it.
I mean, that's a good rule of thumb. But like with The Force Awakens, I was excited. Amber was excited because this was a Star Wars movie that we would be able to see together as a couple in the theater. When we left the theater, and I like telling the story, so I'm going to continue telling it. Amber was like, "It's good."
Yeah.
And then the two friends we were also with were like, "Yeah, it was good." And they were like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I've seen it before," you know. And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, it was wash, rinse, repeat Star Wars. There was nothing special about it. It was just okay. I also liked...
I think Amber had always said that she likes it with an asterisk next to it being depending on how they wrap up the series.
Well, she loved Kylo Ren. Like, she thought he was great. He's an interesting character.
Sure.
Rage-infused, like, psychopath. But, I
think the two most interesting things in that series were the things that were new. You had Finn, the, like, turned stormtrooper. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then you had the evil guy who was, like, fighting against his goodness. They've not done that aspect. They've done the good guy fighting against his darkness, but not the evil one fighting against, like, his light. So there we go.
Okay.
Some kind of interesting stuff. And then they played Star Wars and put those two things kind of in there. I'm like, okay, it's just Star Wars again. Well, maybe they got Star Wars out of their system and we'll move on from here.
Right.
And now they just kind of like, do you like Star Wars? Well, fuck you for liking Star Wars.
So I was talking with Amber about it, and So she was like voraciously, after episode 7 came out, she was like voraciously reading like a bunch of people like, what ifs, what's this, what's this. And I said, don't you feel like you're going to ruin the movie for yourself? And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, because, one of those storylines, you read so many what ifs that one of them's going to be right. And she's like, well, until I see it in the movie, then it's not a thing that happens. Which I guess makes sense. It makes a certain amount of sense. But it's like, I feel like we live in a time where, like, back in the day when they made Gremlins, and that movie hit. And then when someone was like, let's make Gremlins 2. Like, they didn't have this wealth of information out there of people being like, would this be cool? And this would be cool. And this would be cool. And then they could just cherry pick what they want to put in the movie, saying, hey, all the fans really love this thread about this, so let's just put it in the movie. I feel like that was what happened with the episode 7, is they did a lot of fan servicey stuff, like, hey, remember Barry's the chessboard?
It's all member berries.
Remember Barry's the little training droid? And, like, there was a lot of that, which I was fine with.
It was like 95% that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I wasn't digging about it. Like, the chase through the Star Destroyer I thought was interesting, but I'd seen it before. But the thing that I thought was really kind of like my favorite moment in the movie was, let's take the ship. What about that ship? That thing's a hunk of junk. And then they blow up the ship, and they're like, okay, the hunk of junk, and it was the Falcon.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
Sure.
But, like, I feel like the 7th movie, they were just like, okay, let's put all these things together that's interesting. On episode 8, right before they were writing it out there, Rain Johnson or whoever, Mr. Subvert the Expectation, I feel like he got a hold of it, and people were like, what about this script? Check this script out. They put, like, all these little stakes down, and he was like, I'm not following anybody else's fucking plan. I'm doing my movie.
It's like he read all of them just to go the route no one expected, which was, yeah, no. And that was it. Yeah, no is the thing he went with.
Yeah.
Ray somebody? Yeah, no. Snoke somebody? Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I had a bad taste in my mouth right from the get-go when she's like, lightsaber? And he's like, meh.
Yeah.
Like, that part fucking killed me.
Yeah, you want to watch Luke Skywalker the way you've been trying to, like, Luke Skywalker's coming back. Do you want to see Luke Skywalker? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And then, like, it was all weird and awkward with the whole drinking out of the blue titty and, like, I don't know, just from the get-go, that movie put a sour taste in my mouth, and I just couldn't enjoy it for the rest of the theater show. Now, I know that there are people that are rounding back on it now. They're like, movie is better than they think. I'm still not seeing it. But that's just me.
We'll get around to it in, what are we on, episode 5? So we got 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. So in 6 years.
If we're still here.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? What's our views on our last couple?
Not enough.
Like 10, 15. I don't know. Do you think the love of the game will keep us in here that long?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Hey, man, he was just wanting to give you a little kiss.
Oh, now he's smacked.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. I smacked him down.
That's my buddy.
Well, eat shit, buddy.
Well, that was my house gnat. Anyways.
I like how this Empire Strikes Back review started us off with shitting on Star Wars, as all true Star Wars fans do.
But there's just so much.
There's so much. And I think the stuff that makes you angry kind of sometimes sticks out more than the stuff that makes you happy.
Well,
because it's more recent, I guess, maybe.
Well, yeah. So, episode 4, great movie. Episode 5, fucking great movie.
It's a good movie.
Episode 6, who knows? We're not going to reveal it here. Come back next year.
Yep.
And then so on and so forth. I know that 1, 2, and 3, when they initially came out, they got like a lukewarm reception. And like people are actually going back and saying, oh, these movies are actually a lot better. But then when you have to put them again, episodes 7, 8, and 9, I guess in contrast, 1, 2, and 3 look pretty goddamn good.
There's a lot of stuff in 1, 2, and 3 that I enjoy that they added to the mythos. I don't know if there's much in 7, 8, and 9 that added to the mythos that I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, they added like the Jedi Council like back in the day, and kind of like, oh, look how flashy lightsaber combat can be. Look at all these new force powers. And,
oh my god!
Like jumping around and like throwing sabers, and I mean that's shit that's kind of fun. Like, oh, look, check out, here's Coruscant, and here's how people lived before, and like, I mean, this is kind of interesting. I know people bitch about the politics, but I think it's kind of interesting that you see like just a room full of people apathetic and being like wound around someone's finger. That's just kind of like, I'm going to start a war and use it to gain power in the Senate and like take over the shit. And you know, this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. It's interesting.
Yeah, but that was I think that the thing that people had a problem with back then was all George Lucas should stop talking about politics and just make a Star Wars movie. But it's like all of it's politics. Like every story, there's somebody's got some kind of skin in the game one way or the other. It's all in which direction you lean.
Yeah, I mean, first one said Princess Leia. She's not just a princess for no particular reason. You know, now she is because you know.
Yeah. Let's move on from that, please. I miss you so much, Carrie. I don't know that. It's funny because it never even entered my mind of the whole starting the episode like shitting on Star Wars thing because it's like I don't want to do that.
I think every time we've talked about Star Wars, it started with shitting on Star Wars.
I know, and I don't want to do that. I was in Walmart the other day, and I was talking to this kid who was like putting actual figures up on the counter or like up on the rack, and he goes, "I was wearing my Come At Me, Bro, Darth Vader Obi-Wan shirt," and he was like Star Wars, and I was like, yeah, and I was like just like picking figures off thing. And he goes, you know, there's a lot of people who think that the original episodes 4, 5, and 6 are the best. He's like, but, you know, I really liked 7, 8, and 9. And I said, cool. And he was like, well, you think they're good? And I was like, it doesn't matter what I think, man. What matters is you like them. You know, if that's your Star Wars, if that's what you like, man, by all means, you know. And I was serious as a heart attack when I said that to him. Because it just, you are allowed to like shit.
Yeah, if you like 7, 8, 9 and they're your favorite, that's fine. I don't like them.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard conversation with us.
Yeah.
Just for the fact of the main part of the conversation is going to be like, I really like this thing, and we're going to be like, well,
cool.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And a lot of it I like in theory. Like I really like the actors that they got. I don't like the characters they portrayed per se.
Yeah,
like Finn was okay to start, and then he wasn't. Then they started writing him poorly.
Yeah,
like Rey. I like Daisy Ridley, and I really would have liked to see Daisy Ridley do something else than what they gave her. But I like that she gets to be a forefront for like girls to look up to and be like, look how awesome this character is. That's cool. I just wish she wasn't Super Luke. I wish she had like an arc to have like overcome. Like her, I think it would have been super interesting if in The Last Jedi, her and Kylo joined up as kind of like these not super evil, not super good, sort of middle of the road kind of antagonists.
That would have been interesting.
It would have been different. Like, have her fall to the middle and have Kylo rise to the middle and somewhere, like, go along with that sort of thing. So maybe that would have been interesting. I'm not a Reylo fan at all.
No.
But it would have been different.
Yeah.
But you can't have, your role model fall. That will lose your toy sales and stuff. You have to do it in a stupid vision where, like, look, she's evil. I'm just kidding.
Oh, but we can make the toy now.
Yeah, but we can make the toy.
I have the toy. Yeah, I was disappointed the lack they used, like, Finn. Because he had the most interesting storyline out of all of them. And there was a time, I could be wrong, but there was a time that before the episode 7 came out, they released toys, and one of the Finn toys that showed up in Walmart had a lightsaber. And, like, I was like, okay.
He was on the cover with a lightsaber.
Yeah, but, like, I was like, okay, cool, all right. So we have 2 Force users in this movie. Great. That's awesome. And then he was used for nothing but, like, the butt of the joke for the rest of the series. But we're not talking about episode fucking 7. Jesus Christ, we do this every time.
Are you yelling at me?
No, I'm yelling at myself because it's like... I guess we don't have to do an episode 7 now because we've already talked about it.
But you don't know what my score is.
Yeah, but you don't know what the score is. So by the time you get to the score, spoilers abound. Anyways, the reason I think episode 4 is so great. Jesus, how far did we get?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Jesus Christ.
You mean episode 4 or episode 5?
Episide 5.
Okay.
I'm going to get a light that sits right underneath the camera. It's just going to say, tighten the fuck up. And it's going to blink. And then you hold one and I'll hold one. I necessarily won't need one. Just you. And you just hit the button and I'll fucking get back on rails. Sorry.
Happy May 4th.
Happy May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
I think this is the best movie out of all of them. Again, it might be just my bias, but like the ATs are fucking awesome. The snow speeders are awesome. It had so many great new vehicles. You end up on an upswing with, Luke getting sent to Dagobah. You get to meet the man, the myth, the fucking legend, Grover. I mean Yoda, who I think was voiced by Frank Oz. Yeah. Just the story has a beautiful upswing, and then it punches you right in the fucking throat.
Oh yeah, it ends in a good place where it kind of adds to the mythos of the story, and then ends with a finale. But there's more to be seen. It's not like the final thing, but at least it had an ending, and it just ended on a downbeat. It's like, oh, well, the heroes are on the back foot, up against the ropes. They've got to come back swinging next time.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if a lot of movies did that back in the day, where it's like you want to go to the theater to watch your heroes like win the day and get the prizes and fucking you celebrate with the fucking good guys. But like this movie was just like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like the bad guys had a great plan. They really stuck it to him in episode 4, and then episode 5 they're kind of like, we're gonna take your hero and try and bend him to our will, and
Yeah, this guy blew up our Death Star. I want him on my side.
Yeah, and the funny part was the whole conversation of there's a disturbance in the Force, take out young Skywalker, and Vader's just like, you want to take him out, or maybe we can recruit him? Maybe? And he's like, good, I like that. I just like that whole turn.
Yeah, I could use a new Skywalker. Mine's old and rickety and
oh,
got metal legs.
And that's the thing that Amber pointed out last night when we were watching it. She goes, like the son of Anakin Skywalker is like, why wasn't Vader just like, that's me?
No, he's not. He killed him. I killed him.
Yeah, it's okay.
But he does
deep.
He doesn't view himself as Anakin Skywalker anymore. He's now Darth Vader. And also, it's to pull the wool over the Guardians' eyes.
Yeah.
Mainly that.
Well, I mean, but that was like one of the best turns. Like that whole, no, I am your father. Like, I cannot wait. I can't wait for Jack to get old enough to watch these movies. And then because like, he's 3. He's about to be 3 now. And we can sit down right now with him and technically watch him. But I don't know if he'll get a lot out of them.
Yeah, so this movie came out in the 80s, like 1980, before I was born. So I don't remember learning that twist. It's something I've always known, essentially. So I don't know what it was like to learn about, like, oh shit, this guy I really liked has like an evil father. Who? But also, I don't know that it's unique nowadays either.
No, it was one of the original rope-a-dopes. Like, as far as I know, and we are not the kind of people who are going to look up a bunch of shit and be like, did you know this neat little niche fact? But all of that is already out there. That's not our bag, baby.
Yes.
We're just here to talk about the stuff we love. But
and stuff we hate, apparently.
Yeah. Sorry.
And the stuff we hate about the stuff we love.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much.
There's so much.
It's like I am starting to get a little bit of Star Wars fatigue, but at the same time, like James the other day was talking about, he was like, I'm getting superhero fatigue. And I was like, why? There's a lot of good stuff still out there. And like, there's a lot of different genres of like superhero, like the Invincible, like it's another take. And like, there's so much good stuff. And then he's like, what about Star Wars? I'm like, no, I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
But,
so tired.
But Andor was really good.
Mm-hmm. And Andor was decent. There's a lot of good stuff in Andor.
Mm-hmm. And Mandalorian started off really strong.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty strong.
It's pretty good.
But it's starting to suffer season fatigue.
I think it's it's mostly the setup. Like, Mandalorian is a popular thing, so we've got to put all of our launch projects in Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Which just makes Mandalorian feel bogged down by all of the, cool, I'm glad you're the Mandalorian, but here's an episode about Ahsoka, because we want to see, like, Ahsoka, guys? Ahsoka? Okay, she's getting her own show. Cara Dune? Do you like Cara Dune? She's getting never mind. We'll put that down over there. It's like, do you like this? Well, who else are they setting up? It feels like they're always setting up. Boba Fett.
Yeah.
To Boba Fett. It's Boba Fett's back. That's replacing the next season of Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. Here is Ahsoka and because you like Ashoka and we brought her back in Rebels, Admiral
Thrawn?
Admiral Thrawn's.
Yeah, okay.
He was really popular in the cartoon we made for kids. We'll bring it to the show.
I want to watch the thing I'm watching, not you tell me the thing you want me to watch after I'm done watching the thing I'm currently watching.
No, but I mean that's what all the TV shows are.
And that's why I'm tired of long stretches of seasons that just continue. And I like the episodic thing where you can watch an episode like, that was good, and then just be done with it. And then next time you're like ready for another little nibble, you can go back to it and just be like, oh, another episode. Thanks.
That's a Star
As
Trek.
opposed to where they lay down the fucking course and go, eat all of it. It's like, oh my god, there's like 16 episodes, one big story, eat all of it. Take it all in.
And then we make you wait a week between each course. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Personally, I'm okay with it because it's like reading a book. You know, like chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter. And they even knew that in The Mandalorian, since they keep calling them chapter blah and chapter blah.
That's why I like them to be like short. Like I think Last of Us was 9 episodes. It was pretty good. It could have been trimmed a little bit more and been even shorter. Yep.
No.
Yep, could have been even shorter.
Nope.
I think Mandalorian was season 3 was 8 episodes. It was good. Let's cut that shit down. But at least that one had episode breaks. Like this is the episode where they go here and do a thing. It's like cool. It's not one big part of a main story. So I like having episode breaks where it's just like, in this episode, Ahsoka and the Mandalore go on a fun little adventure. It's like, okay, cool.
First off, how dare you bring up Last of Us in this episode? Make that statement and know that I can't fight you on it because spoilers.
Spoilers. Let's go watch our 9 episodes of us talking about Last of Us.
And then come back for the blooper at the end of this one because I'm going to give them what for. I'm kidding. There's not going to be.
Make it shorter.
They could no. But then again, I can't say anything. All right.
Just take this and take this episode 3 and put it over here as its own little movie. It was fucking dope, and then have the rest of it be up here.
Stop. I can't say anything. Anyways, hold on. Distraction. Distraction Raptor. All right, so, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I know that Book of Boba Fett got, like, a lot of hate on it. And we did our series on that. You can watch that as well.
Watch us bitch about Star Wars.
But, like, the thing I liked about Book of Boba Fett was Cobb Vanth. But he was great. Introduced a lot of new characters. You got...
well, Cobb Vanth was in The Mandalorian first.
Yeah, but then you got, like, him, you know, kind of, like, falling into his routine there. And Cad Bane showed up there, and he looked great. Now we have Rancor riding Mandalorian guy. I don't know. That one's going to be a tough one to sell later. But, I mean, hey, the toy. Baby Rancor toy.
Do you have the Baby Rancor toy?
I have not made it yet.
Oh, okay.
But when they do, I probably still won't buy it because it'll probably be like $50.
Yeah, still watch.
But yeah, I liked some of the stuff that the format of Book of Boba Fett was kind of crappy, but like I loved knowing about the Sand People. I thought that was great. If you can give me more lore, I'm in.
I'm ready for more unique stories that don't set me up for the future story. Just give, like if it's an episode on the Tusken Raiders or a series on the Tusken Raiders and that's what it's about, dope. Don't tell me that it's setting up the next season of Boba Fett or setting up the next season of Ahsoka or something. Just like that. Just that little nugget right there.
Or just have him show up and be like, "Hi, remember me? I'm the Mandalorian," and then fucking dip.
It's too much.
Yeah, I know, but it's like
Rebels had that a bit too often. Not as bad, but sometimes you'd have like, look, this is the episode. Look, I'm Leia, and I'm doing this thing. It's like, we don't need you, Leia. Thank you. I'm watching it about these people who might actually, bad things might happen to them. I know you're fine. This is a prequel.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true.
That's why I like Ahsoka. She was in the show with all the other people you knew, and he was a new character doing other stuff. She started off annoying as shit, but as they figured her out and they were doing things with her, you could be like, hey, something could happen to her. I doubt they're going to kill her on a cartoon show for kids, but maybe something interesting will happen with her. And something did happen that was interesting with her.
Let me ask you a question, Nick. Casting-wise, Can you think of any better casting than Rosario Dawson for Ashoka?
Don't think so.
No.
I mean, beyond casting the original actress, which I don't know that she is actress versus a voice actress.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, that's kind of what they did with Thrawn, right? They cast the actor who portrayed him. That's what they did with Bo-Katan.
That's true. I guess Katie Sackhoff was the voice in the show, right?
Yeah, she sure was.
Oh, okay.
So, maybe that would be better, but Rosario Dawson's pretty fucking good, too.
Yeah, you can't... Well, I mean, who voiced her as the kid? Like, Sky Guy kid.
Who was...
The original voice actress for
Ashley Eckstein.
And then who did her in, like, when she got older?
Ashley Eckstein.
So has it only been Ashley Eckstein and...
And Rosario, yeah.
I mean, we could have got Ashley to smoke a couple of packs of cigarettes for a couple of years and get like that.
I mean, she's the adult. The Ashley or the Ahsoka we're getting now is an adult. Ashley's an adult.
I don't know what this person looks like. Let me see. Let me check her out real quick. Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah, Eckstein. I have a feeling if you
Eckstein. I've got Dr. Eckstein.
Well, Ashley.
That's a fairly... there she is. I got her.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Hey. She could have did it.
Yeah, she could have done it.
Oh, I like this jacket here. It looks like Ashoka's Leiku. Or not, they're not. Yes, they're not technically
I think they still call them Leiku. They're like Montrals, but they're essentially Leiku.
Yeah. I don't know if you could see that, but... No.
Yeah,
probably not.
nah, probably.
Anyways, look up the picture.
But
it's pretty
I
good.
think she could have done it. I mean, Rosario Dawson's good, and I also don't know that if she is a actress, like in-person actress, or if she's only does voice, or if it matters.
No, you know what? They might have thrown her the ball first, and she'd have been like, me.
I don't know.
I've seen some of the Star Wars stuff you've been putting out. Still want a career.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, but yeah, no, she's Rosario Dawson.
It's real good.
Looking forward to years of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, episode 4 is it's got everything you want. It's got the highs, it's got the lows. Episode 5, shit. Sorry, I'm going to keep doing that. Well, it's George Lucas's fault for putting them out of order.
You can also just call it Empire.
Yeah, well, yeah. Empire it's got the highs, it's got the lows. Yeah. It's got the continuing journey of Luke Skywalker, who starts out as a fucking whiny little squib in the first movie. He's still kind of whiny in this one, but, he's like more friend motivated, and he's getting his confidence up.
You have to stay here and let your friends die. It's like, screw that. It's like, but if you go over there, you're going to get, royally effed. He's like, well, I got to try for my friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, attachments, man.
And that's why Luke is awesome.
That's why he is now one hand lighter.
Well, apparently it's just a thing that needs to happen in Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you lose a limb and kind of have it replaced so you can look at it and go, oh my God, I'm just like my dad.
I remember, do you remember the original Star Wars role-playing game?
The D6 ones?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember, tell me if I'm wrong,
mm-hmm.
but like if you wanted to get cybernetic parts, there were humanity scores.
Oh, I don't remember if it was I think it affected your force rating.
So if I remember correctly, there was a humanity score that you had, and like the more stuff you replaced, the more your humanity would go down.
I mean, that's definitely in Cyberpunk.
Okay.
I think in the D6 Star Wars, it did take away from your force ability. But I don't remember if there was a separate like humanity score or not.
So like they got that rid of later editions because Anakin's like, yeah, put all the cybernetics on me. That Star Destroyer. Yeah, like that's not accurate with him.
No, but Anakin was worse with cybernetics in him because he can't channel lightning because he's gonna electrocute himself and fry his own circuitry.
That's true.
And that's also why the Emperor kept him like in this shitty suit so he could just be like, zzz. It's like all my shit.
Well, he also needed he has no legs.
Mm-hmm.
He has one arm.
He has no arms.
No arms?
Because he lost this one in episode 2, and then he lost all of these in episode 3.
I thought he at least had the one.
No.
I thought he had like the left. He was like crawling up the thing
with his previously cut off arm.
Okay, I've seen that movie all of one time.
No, it's he lost his other 3 real limbs and kept his robotic limb, so all of them are robotic.
Obi-Wan's like, got your arm, got your nose.
One sweep too. I don't know how you cut off an arm and 2 legs with a.
Hey man, that's that he had the high ground.
Yeah, don't fuck with the man with the high ground.
Motherfuckers should listen when they say you got the high ground. That's all I gotta say. But spoilers.
For all Star Wars.
Yeah, for that. But I mean, we're not gonna sit here and talk about like every little part of Empire Strikes Back. You love it, you hate it, or you're indifferent about it. And I know for a fact that I think out of all 3 of the movies, I think this is the one that's like most clamored about.
This is my favorite. Because I think they finally got their shit kind of in a row. Mm-hmm. Like the Force actually does stuff. Whereas in like the previous movie, what does the Force do? Like you can sense shit.
You can talk people
and
out of shit.
And you can be like, hey, stop it.
Yeah. You don't want to. You don't want to give me a speeding ticket. I don't want to give you a speeding ticket.
Yeah. So the Force back then was just kind of like this. Ooh, it's this feel that surrounds everything, and you can connect to it. Whereas in this one, it's kind of like, eat shit, and you can hurl things at people.
Yeah.
And use it to like. Does he jump around this much? He does. He does it when he's about to get carbonite frozen. He like zips out.
Yeah.
So the Force actually like does shit now, and I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. I think that's fun. You got lightsaber fights that are more than just an old man and a man with a gigantic fucking mask adhered to the shoulder pads he's wearing. Go like this.
Yeah.
I think George got over the idea of these things being super, super heavy, which that's not fun to watch. Watch a man be like,
I think the original design was supposed to be like the super heavy handle with a lightsaber, and then there was going to be this fucking tube that came off of it. Yeah, like I remember watching some of the prototype like toys and some of the panels that came out, and I was like, man, they made a good choice to leave some of that shit out.
So they did end up using that stuff as just in Legends proto lightsabers way back before lightsabers actually got started off. They started off with a stupid tube attached to it. And then as they evolved, you kind of keep the power core in this, I don't know, the pommel or whatever, the handle itself.
All right.
So, like most things with George, you don't just throw that shit away. You just loop it back and put it in somewhere else in Legends.
Yeah, you put it in the storage bin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Visions. Is that the one that's the animated one?
I didn't watch those.
You didn't watch any of those?
I'll have to go back and. I've not watched Visions and I've not watched any of the Bad Batch.
Haven't watched the Bad Batch only because we haven't watched
Clone Wars.
Yes, and I've been told that if you watch them in the reverse order, it's not good. So we have been watching episodes of Clone Wars, and we have nights where Jackson's like, "Yay!" and some nights Jackson's like, "Bluey." Mm-hmm. So we're getting to it.
Yeah, some Clone Wars is good, some Clone Wars is not good, and I think it goes through the arc of, oh, we're in a good arc. Oh shit, this is a Jar Jar arc. Oh look, we're in a good arc.
Great.
Yep.
I can't wait to take this roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Well, James has suggested we watch them in a certain order.
I watch them in the order they're put out.
Okay. Well,
it's so much easier than just trying to be like, okay, we finished this arc. Now we need to skip forward 3 seasons and watch this particular one because this is the next one that happens chronologically.
Why would they do it that way, though?
They're just supposed to be snippets from the Clone Wars originally, and then I guess a narrative started being built from it. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah, the first episode's supposed to like grab you. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to really grab you by the short and curlies and kind of pull you in. It doesn't. And the first episode is the whole, was it Yoda and fucking, what's her name? The Sith-looking woman.
Oh, Asajj?
Yeah, Asajj Ventress. Like, basically trying to get the fucking weirdest looking little flippity-fly creatures on their side.
The Targaryens.
Yeah, and it's such a boring episode.
It's bad.
It's so bad. And like,
and what's worse than that is that's the first episode. The original first episode was the ones we went to the theaters to see.
Really?
Those were the first 3 episodes. And what they did is like, instead of it being a thing, they like, the reason why it felt so disjointed is because there's 3 episodes jammed together. And then they put it out in the theaters, see what happens. And then
so bad. Oh my god, it's so bad. I know we told this story before, but and it's kind of a spoiler for that. But Nick, Joe, myself, Amber, and Tim went to go see this in the theater, and I had Joe and Nick sitting to one side of me, and I had Amber and Tim sitting on the other side of me, and I was the pivot man. and the entire movie, they were like, Nick and Joe were like tittering the entire time.
We were making jokes.
And making jokes. And then I had Amber and Tim trying to stay somewhat...
Trying to stifle laughter.
And I was getting more and more upset because I am not the kind of person who likes to have a lot of distractions in movies. I like to engage and I like to focus. It's probably my ADD. I have to really put myself out there to pay attention. And I was like, guys, this is not funny. It's very distracting what y'all are doing. This is not funny. And then it's almost as soon as I said
they showed Zero come up on screen, and we busted out laughing. And you're like, guys, it's not funny.
No, guys, this is not funny. Y'all are ruining the movie. And then all of a sudden, Zero's like, oh, hello, Mr. Young Skywalker. And I was like, all right, it's funny. And then after that, I started laughing. We had a good time. So I was almost the rainy day. I was the fucking gray cloud on that movie. And then after that, I could loosen up.
Yeah.
But I was like trying to get into it.
You're trying to have fun with it, and it's just not.
It wasn't.
It's just not good.
It was not good.
It's not good. It's still not good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's how Ahsoka gets introduced, with like calling him Sky Guy and her being called Snips, and it's awful. And eventually, they build a character off her to the point where that character, fucking Snips, is my favorite Star Wars character.
Go fig. Go fig.
Yep.
I mean, she's awesome. I think the thing I like most about Ahsoka is the way Dave Filoni wrote her is basically she's insisted, I am not a Jedi. You know, I'm a Force user. I mean, would you say she's gray?
Now, yes. Then, no. She was a Jedi back then.
Okay, but she never like actually became a Jedi Knight.
She never got past Padawan, I think. I think she still had the beat at the end.
I'm not sure, but
I don't remember her ever getting past Padawan. I remember her quitting.
Yeah, like that's her whole shtick is I'm not a Jedi because she didn't graduate to whatever that was.
No,
but
she saw the hypocrisy or whatever in the order, and episodes that are actually good that hopefully you'll get to eventually in Clone Wars.
We'll get to them and we'll talk to them. We'll talk about them. But we're not gonna sit here and gush all night about episode 4. Like
5.
No. God.
So
damn it.
The only thing I want to say about episode 5, beyond this, 40 minutes of us bitching about Star Wars, is that Yoda doesn't talk like that. He talked like that when he was a weird old hermit man pretending, and then he talked normal-ish for most of the time. And then come the next couple episodes, they're like, oh, Yoda talks funny. So they went back to Yoda talking funny, and now Yoda talks funny. Like, think about it. Think about all the times him talking as Jedi Master Yoda versus the times him talking as hermit, like crazy hermit.
Well, he dropped that act like right off the rip.
Yes, but when he was talking like crazy hermit, he's like, good news do I have or whatever. He's doing the whole flipping thing. He was doing it like to the nth degree. He was turning up being weird.
Yeah.
And then when he started talking like the Jedi Master, occasionally he would do things like that. For the most part, his sentences flowed normally.
Yeah. Like,
and occasionally they'd be like, judge me by my size, do you? And but for the most part, it was normal. And I think in the movies, they've kind of gone back and be like, all of his talking has to be silly sounding.
That's like other than being small, green, and having the pointy ears, like that's like his hallmark, right?
Because, I don't know, I guess they amped that thing up. Like, people remember the way he talked, and like, judge me by my size, do you? Like, I have to turn that shit up to 11. Because you think about like, don't leave your weapons behind, you will not need them. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to take it with me.
And he just quietly sat there and stabbed at the fire.
Like, he's like, what's in there? Only what you take with you. It's not take with you only what you have. It's like he's not flipping all of his speech. And in future media, they just kind of, like episode 1, flip his speech, through 3.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, it's what people liked, I guess, so they just decided to go ahead and like amp it up to 12.
I kind of liked it when he was pretending to be the silly little man. He had the weird and it differentiated weird man from Jedi Master. And then they kind of like backtracked and be like, no, he always talks like that. It's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to go and watch like Return of the Jedi like soon. I mean, that's a really good point. I never thought about that.
I think it's mostly with the prequels. I don't remember if in episode 6 if he talks quite to that degree.
You just fucked me up, Nick. Okay. Well, all right.
I was watching it, I'm like, I really like the way Yoda talks in this one. where it's Funny Man Yoda and then it's Master Yoda, and it's cool. They're distinct like acts he has got going on. Because like you can just tell by the way Oz fucking handles the puppet, like when the turn happens where he's going from like that crazy old man to like, I cannot teach him. He's like, why the fuck would you care? And he kind of like does that. You could see it in the puppet face, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And the puppet stance.
Yeah.
That his personality like shifts.
Too old. Yes. Too old. Can't be taught. Yeah. Like, yeah. That it's. Well, I mean, that's. I thought that was a great. Also, I thought that was also a great turn because it teaches you don't know where certain things are going to come from. You know, like you see Yoda and you're just like, okay, this fucking filthy little fucking swamp beggar. It's like all up in my shit, stealing my fucking tools and stuff. I could see where Luke's just kind of like, all right, what the fuck? And like even the point where he's like sitting in his little thing and like shooing snakes off as he eats the stew, and he's just like,
when are you going to be Yoda?
Yeah, like,
just showing the impatience of youth, and just kind of like he can't deal with it. It's like, put up with this crazy old man, like, and he's just impatient, like, that's my stuff.
And that's what's. I think that's what's great about Luke is that Luke never was like superhero material.
He had to be trained.
Yeah, he had to be trained. He had to be tempered, and that's what I loved most about him is that you got his development over 3 movies. You went from fucking kid who just wants to do a thing to kid who really wants to do a thing but needs to support his friends, and then in the last movie, it's like that's where he becomes.
Yeah, the Jedi Master.
Yeah, he becomes his whole self. But yeah, and then the fight. I loved the fight at the end where all too easy and like tried to basically throw his ass in carbonite, and you see him do the. Like as soon as he jumped out, I still get the fucking giddy every single time I watch him force jump out of the fucking pit. I think that's so great, and I also love how instead of doing the like fucking eventually like. Darth Vader just like
when he's just hurling things at him,
and he's just moving the sword like it's a joystick.
It's all too easy.
Yeah, and shit's just flying at fucking Luke, and he's like not even using his hand at that point. He's just like,
it's when like the door opens up and it's Vader and Han Solo's like, fuck this, and he's just like, it's like, sit down.
Yeah, join us, won't you? And like, fucking for some reason now, Robot Chicken has ruined that scene for me. Because, like, the whole time, like, it's the whole, would anybody like some seconds? And fucking Boba Fett's behind fucking Han Solo. Like, I think of that every single time now. And like, last night was no different when we watched it. But, yeah, the whole fight scene between him, the reveal, him getting super fucking lucky and falling into a goddamn tube that spit him out at the bottom of the space station.
I have a feeling most of those tubes would spit you out. I imagine that they're supposed to be moving air or like whatever, or like the gas, and if you get debris shit in there, it probably deposits it
onto an antenna.
Well, presumably to space, but your depositing doesn't have limbs to go. Let me grab on it. So I think it's just meant to be garbage clearage.
That's true. And then where does his hand go? Where'd the lightsaber go?
Apparently to Maz Kanata.
We're not going to explain
it. When it's mystery box. Ooh, I fucking hate the mystery box.
Yeah, but like, the hand. I got to know more about the hand.
It should have fallen to fucking Bespin.
I mean, someone's got clones of fucking Luke out there somewhere where like Luke's just like, would you like some more food? And he's like, shut up, Jedi.
Well, isn't that in the extended Legends now? Wasn't there a Luke Skywalker? Luke Skywalker that was a clone made from his hand or some shit like that?
I'm not sure.
I mean, if you know, let me know down below. But I think there's a Luke Skywalker who is a cloned Skywalker.
And that's probably the first thing that like fucking Disney read, and they're like, nope, throwing it all out.
So, is this what we could expect from Hall of Legends? Okay, it's one of the best books, and never mind. Throw all this shit in the garbage.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff. Like Tales of the Bounty Hunter was a great book, and that's one that Amber stuck in my hands. She was like, just read this one, because I never really wanted to know about the extended universe stuff, and the reason I didn't want to know about the extended universe stuff is because my mom, when I was 12 years old, bought me the Star Wars comic book. It was the first thing I had outside of the movies.
Okay.
It was Star Wars, and those comic books were bad. And I was just like, if these are bad, then I don't need. But I was already hooked, and I had already become a comic book collector at that point. So I got all of them, and they showed up in the mail. Like my first comic book showed up in the fucking mail. and then it just kind of got the ball rolling on me. But yeah, I haven't read a lot of the extended universe stuff. Amber,
my favorite stuff comes from the Old Republic,
yeah,
where I like when you divorce the story enough so that you can tell new stories where I don't necessarily know what happens.
getting out of the whole Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I want divorced Sky Wars. I don't want more Skywalker shit because I've seen it. It's good, and when people add to it, apparently it's fucking dog trash.
Yeah, it's fucking Star Wars for families, so they're gonna like try and beat all the cash they can out of it because everyone loves him, Luke, and I'm no different. He's my favorite character in all of Star Wars. But yeah, it's and now he's the Joker. Weird how things turn out. But yeah, it's a superior movie with a superior ending. And it was one of those movies that taught me you don't always get a happy fucking ending.
Yeah.
You know, be happy with the ending you got. At least he lived, and he's back with his friends.
It's also a little. I'm getting a little tired of this movie over the course of years, and to the point where I don't need to watch this movie all that often anymore. I used to watch it yearly. I don't need to watch it yearly anymore. But going back and rewatching it, you're like, Han Solo's a little rapey. Just a little.
Okay.
It's like, ooh, what are you doing, princess? Get your hand. Admit the way you feel about me. I don't want to talk to you, man. It's like, oh, she's all over me. It's just like, dude, chill the fuck out. But she loves me. Well, that's up to her to tell you, not you to force her to tell you. Old Harrison Ford movies. He's a little rapey.
Oh, he's supposed to be in the new James Bond. And James Bond is incredibly rapey.
So you go back and watch Indiana Jones. It's pretty problematic.
Well, a lot of the stuff was like...
It's old shit. And then you go back and watch...
It's a product of its time.
Blade Runner. Blade Runner, he was pretty rapey too.
I don't remember... I barely remember any of the Blade Runner.
It's, I think, a little bit. I know people will probably be like, no, he's not. I mean, watch the movies from the perspective of like... Imagine Leia was being truthful and she's not into him. And all that shit he's doing with her. It's like, oh, your hands. Like, get your hands off me. It's romantic if they're into each other. It's not romantic if she's not into him.
There is...
Even the I love you, I know thing is kind of
I'm probably going to tank our channel with this comment. But fuck it. I feel like we have kind of lost touch with who we are. I agree with you that he was coming on strong. But if there's one thing you ask most women what they want most in men, the very two things that first come up is confidence and a sense of humor. And that's one thing that I think Han exuded was confidence.
Sure.
He was super confident in everything. He could read people. That was his thing. He read people, and he just worked the fucking crowd. The one thing I will say for Han is even though he knew she was a princess and she's a general in this rebel order, it's not like he was trying to get with her because
he liked her for her.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say is he liked her for who she was. He liked that she was scrappy. He liked that she was a fighter and she had a fighter's heart. And he liked arguing with her because it seemed like he would nettle her, she'd nettle him back, and then he'd get his ass up on his shoulders. Yeah. But then the one thing that I will say is when Han went somewhere, she followed, which I think was enough to let him know she's into me.
I think he knows that he's into her, but I don't know if you're supposed to be like, hey, come on, tell me. It's just a little bit.
Well, I think the other thing was
just not as romantic as it seems. Just a little bit.
Well, the movies are a product of their time. Yeah. Like that's what leading man equipment was back then.
Yeah, it's 1980.
Yeah, and I mean,
you're supposed to be look at movies 43 years in the past and be like,
Well, yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, what people in 20, 30 years are going to say about movies that are being produced now.
Yeah. What is in 2063, us looking back at a movie that like Renfield or whatever, what is in Renfield or whatever recent movie we watched where we're going to be like, maybe that wasn't so cool back then.
Yeah. I mean, it's as we move on, we evolve.
And that's the point. If you look back at a movie 50 years ago and you're like, that's the way things should be now, then maybe you're not changing with the times.
Again, maybe tanking our channel with this comment, but I don't know. I liked my leading men back in the 80s. I liked John McClane. I liked Luke. I liked Han. I think that it was okay. I think it's okay for men to be men. But I agree with you. The whole coming on too strong, like James Bond, my favorite one was not. I know a lot of people like Sean Connery the best out of the James Bonds, but Roger Moore was my favorite James Bond because that's who was James Bond when I was growing up. And I know that James Bond is also super rapey, but like that's also his shtick. Is I'm such a man's man that you can't resist me. And I think that was like the type they were going for back then. And I think we've missed a step where I feel like you can have that and still have good movies where you're being respectful towards women. And, like, I believe that everyone should be respected. I believe that everyone has their personal boundaries. I believe that everyone should be treated as just human fucking beings. There should be no restrictions on, like, genders or anything like that. You shouldn't treat people a certain way because of who they are. We're all equal up and down the board. That's the way it should be. We're all just fucking humans. But that also said, my favorite action hero of the 90s was fucking Ellen Ripley. Aliens, she was fucking awesome. Like, I loved Ripley so much. Like, the Aliens is probably top 10. I'm have to say action movie.
Yeah, for Aliens, that's an action movie.
Because it's less of a horror and more of an action.
Yeah. Alien is the horror. Aliens is the action.
Yeah.
Alien 3 tried to bring it back to horror, but
failed miserably.
I don't know that it did that great.
No, it was that the whole idea of that movie. Yeah, fuck it, I'm just going to talk about it. If you put a xenomorph in a dog, that thing should be able to run you fucking down so fast it's not funny. Because it takes on traits of whoever it is that it, that it nests out of.
It was put in a bowl. It was put in a bowl. And then in the rewrites, they've changed it to a dog.
Really? Interesting. And a bull? So that would have made more sense. With like it running down, like when they were in the tunnels and like running it down the fucking tunnels and like trying to, like the second that guy was like, hey, and it was running down the tunnel and he turned and had to run for the door. If it was in a dog, he would have had to lean out the door and be like, hey, and as soon as it started running, shut the fucking door. I hated that it couldn't run them down so fast.
So I watched, they call it the assembly cut because there's no director's cut. Because
you could turn the video off here, like Star Wars. We love it.
Star Wars is, this one's good.
Yeah.
So I guess because I don't know that we'll talk about Alien 3.
No.
So Alien 3 spoilers?
Yeah.
So I watched the assembly cut, which the director Neil Blomkamp, I think is what his name
Sounds
was,
right.
or something like that. He didn't do a director's cut because there's a director's cut for Alien and Aliens on my Alien quadrilogy thing. They had to do an assembly cut, which was just kind of bits and pieces, kind of put back together to what they think the director wanted it to be, because he got so much studio interference that he's like, fuck this, and didn't want anything to do with it in the future. So they kind of gave you the assembly cut, and when I was watching it, they dragged in like the bull. I'm like, what the fuck is this bull thing? And like that's the Alien came from that. Like that dog scene was the theatrical version, not the written version.
Interesting. What could have been? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It could have been a good movie, but then I've also heard a lot of the studio shit that they were going to do with it, and it sounded fucking god awful. Where they were on like a wooden planet, a planet made of like scaffolding, like all built together, like the planet was just kind of assembled. I'm like, that sounds dumb as shit.
It does sound dumb.
And
as
it
shit.
was going to be full of monks or something. I'm like, I don't want to watch that movie.
I like the prison asteroid one a little bit better myself, but that's just me.
The prison planet's interesting. I don't like that they immediately kill Hicks and Newt.
Yeah, but they didn't even get a line.
No.
They just showed up fucking DOA.
Yeah, it's just they died in the intro.
Yeah, it's that movie. As I was watching it at the theater, I was just like, okay, all right. And then like by the end of the movie, when she jumped into the lava pit, I was like, good.
Like she won't be coming back. And then
End it now.
Then she came back.
Well, I mean, Sigourney Weaver had already said that she didn't want to do any more movies by the second movie. And the third movie, she was like, this is fucking it.
Well, I think she didn't want to do a second one, or she didn't want to do a third one. And then, like, the director got her in, like I've got you, don't worry about it. And then when I think there was so much studio interference, I think they both had the bad taste in their mouth. where he was going to be taking care of her to make sure it was a movie that she wanted to deal with, and she didn't get any of that shit either.
Yeah, well, she abhors weapons. Like, she abhors guns, and, like, she's firing them and everything. And, like, the movies, like that's something that she's, like, up and down been like, I'm not about it. But, like, I know for the third movie she did not want to come back. And I knew that before I went in to see Aliens 3. And I was like, it shows. It fucking shows why you didn't want to come back and do the third movie, because it was fucking terrible. And then they made another one. And then they made another one. And guess what?
That one's bad.
Old Lanster went and fucking saw him.
With me.
No.
Covenant?
But I didn't have anything better to do.
Yeah, but I went with you.
Yeah, but I mean...
So, I like Alien 4 until, like, the last 20 minutes.
Is that the...
Alien Resurrection, the one with the,
is that the one that...
clone Ripley?
Yes.
It's good.
The beginning was good.
It's good for a lot of it until she bangs an alien and has a newborn critter thingy. And then it turns dumb as shit.
Yeah, no.
I hate that part of it. But the rest of it's interesting, because at that point, she's not actually Ripley.
The way it dies.
That's horrific.
It's fucking one of the most brutal things I've ever seen.
But, I mean, it's okay, because it was written by Joss Whedon. It was his precursor to Serenity, to Firefly. Because he had his Firefly team at that point, only 5 people instead of 9. But then you think of, like, Ripley as River.
Mm-hmm.
You had, like, what's his, the Ron Perlman. I was going to do, with the fucked up face. as
Hellboy.
As Jace.
Yeah.
Or is that his name, Jace?
It doesn't matter.
But from, like, Serenity. You had, like, the Captain Mal. Because there was the captain and like Ellen, something like that. Alloy. We play the card game. Otherwise, I would not.
Didn't have the gravelly voiced sheriff in the movie as well.
I think he was the gravelly dude.
And then you had the fucking Bishop 2.0.
Yeah.
Or 3.0, I guess you could say at that point.
Let's see. So she was Call.
I hope you're enjoying our episode 5, May the 5th.
Yeah.
Spectacular. If you're still here.
Elgin.
Hi.
Elgin was essentially the Mal. I think his girl was meant to be not necessarily the Inara, but you had bits of the Serenity crew.
Right.
Kind of in their proto form.
Mm.
And then he eventually that script got butchered.
Yeah.
And kind of turned to whatever the fuck they were going with. And there was stuff in there that could have been good. It could have been a good movie. And it was almost a good movie.
Well, I thought it was going to be a phenomenal movie when it had the 3 aliens in the fucking pen all together. And then they kill the one.
To escape, yeah.
To escape.
So fucking cool.
When they did that, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be great. And then the movie kept going on. And I was like, okay, it's still pretty good.
Well, the ones that were swimming were pretty fucking...
They looked fucking cool. Intimidating as shit.
They were spitting acid at dude. Like, as he was climbing up, he got that, like, in the face.
Yeah.
And then he, like, let himself die so that he could...
Was it the guy who's like, what's wrong with me?
It's Chrissy. You remember the guy that held his sleeves out and the guns came out? And he was like, he ended up shooting it, and like the guy that was in the wheelchair with like, it was the one, he was his backpack because he couldn't swim through the water.
Right.
And he was the one that was climbing up. He's like, Christy, hold on. And so he's unbuckling the thing and dropped himself into the water.
Yeah.
And then you had the dude that had the alien put in him. That scene was fucking dope too.
Yeah, well, I just like how he went berserker.
Oh yeah, it's like, there's no one listened to me. And he started putting bullets in him, and he's just raging, running at him, and holds his head right here so it comes. It's dope. Yeah. There's a lot in that movie that's good, and then the last like 20 minutes, it turns dog shit.
And then for some reason, that's all anybody I can ever remember.
It's the last 20 minutes. It's how it made you feel when you left.
Yeah, but I mean, I knew it was going to be something special in the beginning, and then by the middle of it, I was like, I mean, honestly, I wasn't really digging most of the crew. I hated how they were treating the android or the.
Oh yeah.
Like, I hated how, like, just for one movie, just give the fucking synthoid a break. Like, Ash, terrible synthoid. Bishop, fucking man of the year synthoid.
Yeah.
Like, just give them a fucking break. Did all of them read the headline, "Woman on Nostromo get attacked by fucking..."
Well, they didn't know she was synthetic until near the end of the movie.
Right. But it's like she was a valued member of the crew. Then that happened, and they're like, oh, it's a fucking fake person. And, like, it just, like, she is a part of your crew.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just, I guess that just put a sour taste in my mouth, too, when that whole thing happened. Plus, like, Alien movies, you know that's coming at this point. You always have to have that one synthetic person.
It was, I think she was interesting. I like the relationship between her and Ripley. I guess Ripley 7, because it's not really Ripley anymore.
Yeah, it's Queen hybrid Ripley.
Yeah.
So whatever.
She was interesting. I like that version of Ripley as a different character.
Me too.
She felt like a different character when she was like, when she escaped, she like cut herself and rubbed her blood on like the little panel, and it sizzled just enough to like deteriorate the metal so she could like cross the wires and open the door. It's cool.
I also like how she could sense the troop movements and like what they were thinking, what they were feeling. Like there was a lot to love, and I also loved how like bestial she was acting in that movie. Because you could
like the scene where she's like dribbling the basketball and just does this and it goes in.
Yeah, swish. I think that was one taker.
It was one take. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a one taker. It's. Oh, okay. I need to go back and watch it again.
And so watch it and realize that the last 20 minutes, if you could just cut that shit right the fuck off, how good of a movie it could have been.
What we could have had.
What we could have had.
What might have been.
And whereas I don't know what you have to do to Alien 3 to make that a good movie. Because I went back and it was 2020, I think. I went back and rewatched them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Alien, still fucking good movie. And I even watched, I watched the extended versions on my, Alien quadrilogy box set. And then I went back and watched the extended version of Aliens. I'm like, still fucking cool too. They got
solid.
Have you seen the extended version where they got like the sentry gun scene and shit like that?
Oh, where it's just sitting in the tunnel and they're just firing and they're just like watching the fucking ammo tick down? Yeah, I've seen the extended version. And they're just like, gun 1's dry. Gun 2's dry. Oh. There's still movement in the hallway.
It's the gun was down to like 3 bullets or something like that when they finally stopped. So like they just barely got it. And there's stuff in it that I don't think is as great. You get introduced to Newt before you meet Newt, essentially.
See, I liked having that bit.
I don't know if I needed that, but because you see the alien on the dad's face before that too, and I don't know if that's necessary. But you also get the scene where Ellen learns that she outlived her daughter.
Yeah,
and I think that's pretty
heartbreaking,
and it's pretty vital to what she was a mother. She lost her child, and then she goes to LV, what's it, 426?
426, yeah.
And meets Newt. And now there's another little girl that needs, like, a mother figure. And I think that helps.
But what's worse about Ellen's story is that she's like, how long was I out there?
Oh, yeah.
And she, like, looks up and finds out that her daughter grew to be an old woman and then died of old age before she came out of hypersleep. Yeah, like, that was a serious gut punch. And see, that's that bit of the storyline that I actually loved that I wish we could have kept in to it. I also liked seeing Newt before everything went down, just so you could kind of get a horror of what's going on. But I think it was a good call to take that out of the movie. Because, see, we shouldn't be talking about this because we will eventually do this series.
So I guess let us know how soon you want us to talk about Alien.
Yeah. If you made it past the whole we stopped talking about episode 5 thing and you're still watching, please leave something down in the comments to let us know if you're happy with the spoilerific shit we got into after the review. And Nick, is there anything else to say about Aliens?
Coming soon. We have to talk about this one at one point in time.
All right. Well,
soon. I don't know that will necessarily be the case. Maybe we can find a place to fit it in.
It'll be a birthday thing. Like, I already know what I'm going to call my birthday for this year. It's not going to be Alien or Aliens.
It's going to be Transformers?
No. You already told me you're not going to talk with me about that.
I will.
I don't want to be sitting here beside you the entire time. They did Rodimus Prime and shot through the eye, and then he grabbed the Matrix and was like, and you're just like,
Lance, there's only a few movies that I'm like, I don't want to watch. And that's the Jackass movies. I don't know if there's any other movie. Like, if you want me to sit down and watch Transformers with you, I will do that for you. I will watch Transformers.
The thing is that you won't be into it like I'm into it.
You'd have to. I've primed you that you have to be ready. That when you hold up that 10, for me to hold up that 4, and have your emotions ready.
Yeah, and then have like the rest of the review be like, I thought it was really weird that they made this thing. What do you think, Nick?
I think it's shit. No.
Yeah, and me to give you all that venom the entire time we're watching the movie.
But I will watch the Transformers movie. As in the cartoon, not the Michael Bay one.
1986 Transformers Originals, the only movie. Bumblebee's pretty good too. But
The only movie.
oh, well, I mean,
They're just putting out a new one.
yeah, well, I'm gonna go see it opening weekend. We don't have to do a review on it anytime soon, but I'm telling you right now, I am fucking stoked for this movie. It looks like it's gonna be really good.
If you want to talk about it, feel free. And you can even leave this stool here empty, with just like a little picture.
It's just me talking.
With this little picture of me over here, looking disappointed.
I'll just make a Nick puppet and be like,
Oh, I love it.
it was so good. Yeah, I'm super stoked to see this one. I'm not gonna say anything, but like the trailer's out there, go watch it. It's really good. All right, so Nick, is there anything else to say about Star Wars?
There's so much to be said about Star Wars. How much about this episode? I don't know. It's good. There's a lot of stuff in it that is good, and I like it. But I'm also tired of watching it.
Yeah, I guess the reason a lot of you are probably this far into the series at this point and been like, these guys don't talk about the movies like all that much. A lot of the movies that we're watching is the older stuff, and it's been done to death. Everything that can be said about it is out there, and we are not so blind as to think that we can reinvent the fucking wheel when we do these reviews. So we try to be short and succinct, but unfortunately I ramble on a lot because I am ADD as fuck.
Short and succinct, and most of our videos are like an hour.
Yeah, I ramble, and I know I do. I've gone back and watched a lot of our videos. Just I'm ADD, and my fucking brain bounces everywhere. So, yeah. And also, my cat nuzzled me before the video, so I know it looks like I've been doing coke before the fucking thing, but I've got that one hair that keeps touching. But yeah, no, thanks.
Thanks for watching.
For our May the 4th episode.
Yeah, you got a lot of bonus content.
Yeah.
So rejoice. And if you watch Star Wars this year, let us know. Is May the 4th the year in which you watch all of the movies again? Where you watch one of the trilogies again? Mm-hmm. Where you're like, I'm done with Star Wars, please stop again? Let us know.
Yeah. Leave it down in the comments. Let us know what you think. Mm-hmm. And give us your feedback on what you think your favorite movie is.
Yeah. For me, I think it's Empire.
I'm right there with you, baby. So I guess you know what to expect for future reviews.
Yeah.
Yep.
Less than a 10.
Yep.
So that tells you nothing, and less than a 9, which also tells you pretty much nothing.
Who knows? The other movies can run right up against it.
Yeah, it could be.
And just have that one thing that we don't like.
Yeah. Man, episode 1 is perfect. Except for this one little thing about it that bugs me. Mm-hmm. And it's that my old bones are aching, Andy. It's that woman. No, just kidding.
No, midi-chlorians.
There's a lot of things in the first movie that bug me.
Midi-chlorians, babe. Man, it's just... This is Padre. Get the shit out of them.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.